steady supply chain is critical to successful purchasing endeavors. Contract management applies to the specific contract for the goods or services being procured. Effective contract management is necessary for successful supplier management. Central functions of an organization's contract management strategy should include complying with corporate governance regulations, managing risks, eliminating or reducing cost, and maximizing revenue streams.
The conditions that must be met for a contract to be managed successfully are: both the consumer and the provider must be satisfied with the service delivery arrangements, business benefits and value for money are realized, the supplier is cooperative and responsive, the customer knows its obligations under the contract, there are no disputes, there are no surprises, and satisfactory delivery progress can be observed. A successful contract management strategy should achieve benefits by managing the organization's own responsibilities during the contract, ensuring the supplier meets the minimum performance criteria such as compliance, and enabling the development of effective supplier relationships to achieve both short and long-term supplier performance improvement. The purpose of contract and supplier management is to work closely with suppliers and internal customers to minimize the total cost of ownership and maximize supply chain efficiencies.
A Service Level Agreement, or SLA, is a commitment between a service provider and a client to deliver services according to a predefined set of standards. Aspects of service, such as quality, availability, and response time, are agreed upon between the service provider and client. A well-defined and typical SLA will include type of service and product to be provided, performance level including reliability and responsiveness, responsibilities of both parties, the monitoring process and service level reporting, the steps for reporting issues with the service, response and issue resolution time frame, repercussions for the service provider not meeting its commitment, periodic review information, and stakeholder information.
Supplier Relationship Management, or SRM, is a systematic approach to evaluating vendors that supply the organization with goods, materials, and services. Supplier Relationship Management encompasses 5 primary tasks: segmenting the supply base, measuring and improving supplier performance, becoming a better customer, collaborating with suppliers, and improving supplier quality. Challenges and issues when implementing supplier relationship management include too much focus on costs instead of value, lack of specific SRM competencies and skill strategic objectives that are not compatible, no alignment between the business and procurement, open communication and information sharing is difficult, focus on fighting instead of collaborating, ignorance of soft skills to manage business relationships, and lack of business involvement in managing the relationship. So, how does an organization achieve the optimum levels of supplier relationship management? 2 approaches can be adopted: the reactive approach and a strategic approach.
In the reactive approach, companies start managing the supplier relationships only when an unpleasant situation with the supplier occurs. They then engage in figuring out how to improve the performance of unreliable suppliers moving forward. In the strategic approach, the relationship building begins even before an agreement with the supplier is signed. This helps to ensure the company's competitive advantage in the long run. Modern organizations interact with diverse vendors and supply chains become more complex. As a result, maintaining solid margins is becoming more difficult since the supply chain is under growing pressure to keep consumer costs low. There are various advantages to supplier relationship management leading to a healthy bottom line. These include lower costs, improved efficiency, consolidated supply chains, ongoing improved operations, and outsourcing certain activities.
Regardless of form, operational relationships within the supply chain may differ in numerous ways. These differences may be the result of duration, obligations, expectations, communication, cooperation, planning, goals, performance analysis, and benefits and burdens.
The range of relationship types extends from that of a vendor to that of a strategic alliance. These relationships could be Transactional or vendor relationships, where there is little or no integration or collaboration. Collaborative or partner relationships, where two or more business organizations cooperate to drive better long-term combined results. Or strategic or alliance relationships, which are more strategic and highly relational. Organizations willingly modify their business objectives and practices to help achieve shared long-term goals and objectives. Performance metrics are needed to measure the effectiveness and efficiency of the supply chain.
Supply chain performance measurements must link to business objectives, be repeatable, and provide insights into how to manage the supply chain more effectively. The basic criteria for supply chain performance measurement include a balanced scorecard perspective built on 5 elements: financial, customers, internal processes, innovation and improvement, and employees. Location of measures in 4 phases: plan, source, make, and deliver as defined by the SCORE model, and decision levels in a supply chain management system: strategic, tactical, and operational. A good criterion for supply chain performance measurement states that performance measures should be derived from strategy, easy to understand, clearly defined, able to provide rapid feedback, and should describe an explicit goal.
Nowadays, information sharing is one of the vital aspects for the survival of different supply chains in the competitive world. Information is an essential driver to any organization that creates and strives for a coordinated, effective supply chain.
Evaluating supply chain effectiveness and efficiency requires performance indicators with performance objectives such as costs, agility, responsibility, flexibility, sustainability, reliability, commitment, cooperation, integration, and resource utilization. Contract and supplier management are crucial to creating an effective and efficient supply chain, resulting in contract procedures and process improvements that improve the bottom line.